So it's pretty cool. And also the possibility of immigration. I think this is most important. One of the most important reasons why people choose Canada to study is they actually can stay in Canada permanently if they want to, if they work hard. So this is a map of Canada. PEI is actually located in the right side, so the eastern side of Canada. Because usually when we talk about, Eastern Canada, people are thinking, okay, Montreal, Toronto, that's it. But we're actually eastern than Montreal. And because Montreal's not even eastern yet. So the eastern Canada is New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. So those are the eastern Canada provinces. And it's quite convenient to leave the island. So if you want to fly, we have a direct flight every day from Montreal, Toronto, Halifax, sometimes Ottawa, to Prince Edward Island. It takes about 2 hours from Toronto, an hour and a half from Montreal, and half an hour from Halifax. And if you don't want to drive, if you don't want to fly, you can also drive, because we do have a very long bridge between us and New Brunswick. So it's quite convenient to leave the island. And for Prince Edward Island, for the people that know Canada, you probably don't really know about Prince Edward Island, because we are actually the smallest province in Canada, and because we're quite small, sometimes we get missed from the map. That's why. And our capital city is called Charlottetown, and that's actually where the university is located. And even though we're quite small, but we're very, very important in the history, because we are the birthplace of the Canadian Confederation. Because when Canada became a country, it was called Canadian Confederation in the beginning in 1864, and that actually happened. So when Canadian Confederation was born, it was actually happened in Prince Edward Island. And so that's why we're called the birthplace of the Canadian Confederation. And that's why we're very, very important. And we're also a very known tourism province in Canada. So we're like the Canadian version of Hawaii, I would say, because when Canadians are thinking about, I'm going to take a vacation, I want to go somewhere, usually they're thinking about Eastern Canada, and Prince Edward Island is definitely their top choice because of our golf course and our the beach, because we're islands, so we're surrounded by water, right? So that's why we're quite famous in the country, but not so much in other parts of the world, because sometimes people get missed us because we're a little bit small. But I think that's actually one of the reasons why I picked Prince Edward Island, because it is small, so it's very, very safe. And also people are really friendly here. And that makes Prince Edward Island very special, is the people. And those are just some pictures of Charlottetown. And those are the top, I would say those are the top reasons why people are choosing Prince Edward Island. And the first one will be our great learning experiences and friendly environment. And I can speak to that because I studied 8 years at UPEI. When I was a student, I knew all my professors, and all my professors knew me. They all know me by my name, and they know where I'm from, and they know what program I'm in. And because we're a little bit small, so we were able to make connections with the professors, and they have more time that they can actually take care of their students. And the second would be the worldwide recognized degree, because I get this question a lot. A student would ask me, is the degree worldwide recognized? So the answer is definitely yes. So our degree is worldwide recognized. So whenever a student goes, doesn't matter if a student want to go home after graduation, or if a student want to go somewhere else, their degree can recognize worldwide. And also we have a lot of unique programs at UPEI, and now I'm going to talk about that later. So the scholarship opportunities, we do have entrance scholarships and current student scholarships. And those are, so for the entrance scholarships, it's purely based on their grades, and they don't have to apply, which is pretty good. And every year we give out $6 million for students. And the next one, I think, is one of the important one, is the affordable tuition living costs. So Canada, compared with other destinations, is already very affordable for tuition and living costs. But we are like one of the most affordable tuition and one of the most affordable institutions for tuition and living costs. And just to give you a rough idea, our tuition for a year is about 15,000 Canadian dollars, including the insurance, and the living cost is about 10,000 a year. So every year you're looking at about 25,000 Canadian dollars a year, and that's without any scholarship or without you working. So this is about our cost. And then the next one I think is quite important for students is our co-op and job opportunities. So for the people that don't they're not familiar with co-op. So co-op is a 1-year paid internship. So for most of the programs at UPEI, we actually have co-op programs, so except arts. So let's say a student in business, they will have opportunity to do a 1-year paid internship in co-op. And other than the co-op program, we also have like on-campus job opportunities or off-campus job opportunities for students. And it's usually up to the student if they want to actually go find a job, but we usually encourage a student to at least work a little bit so that they can add something to their resume. And so the student with me today, Ernest, he's actually working off campus as well, and he's going to introduce that a little bit later. The next one would be immigration opportunities. So this is something I think also one of the important reasons why people choose UPEI, because in Canada, we have 2 types of immigration programs or policies. So the one is done by the federal government, and the other one is done by the provincial government. So for the federal government, doesn't matter which school that you go to or which province you're at, you're able to apply for the express entry through the federal government. But for provincial government, you will actually have to you have to study and work in that particular province, and you will be able to use their immigration policy or immigration programs. So for UPEI, we actually have a very special one. We do have those 2 that I just mentioned about, but we do have a very special one. It's called AIPP, Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. So if you Google it, you'll have a full description of the program. And so to make it short, it's a program that it's a kind of a little bit shortcut. So first, you just have to study in one of the 4 eastern provinces, so one of the universities or colleges, and then you have to find a job in one of the 4 eastern provinces. And once you have a job, 1 year full-time contract, you will be able to apply through this Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program. So if you Google it, you will have more details. But this one is when I look at all other provinces, this one is not the easiest one, but the fastest one. And the processing time is only 6 months. Okay, so this is about the university. So the university is not very big, but we are like a small to medium-sized university with 4,600 students in total, and about 25% of the population are international students. And those students are not just coming from 1 or 2 countries, they're from 103 different countries and regions. So that makes us very diverse compared with some other big schools. And so when students come to University of Prince Island, they're not just meeting Canadian students, they're not just meeting students from their home country, and they are meeting students from everywhere. And some students are meeting with friends that from a country that they have never heard about it before, which is a good thing because you will be learning about new cultures, a new language, and new friends. So, and it's quite convenient to live close to the university because as you can see, so the kind of in the center of the picture, those that belong to the university. If you go up about 10 to 15 minutes, it's our airport. If you go down about 10 to 15 minutes, it's downtown. And across the street from the university is off-campus housing. So they don't belong to the university. It's like apartment buildings and townhouses. and students can rent those places. And actually most of the tenants there are UPEI students because it's so convenient. Right across the street is where you live. And if you walk about 3 to 4 minutes, there is a 24-hour grocery store, and there's bank and restaurants. So life is quite easy, it's quite convenient in Prince Island. But of course, because we are a small city, so we're not the same as, you know, Toronto or Montreal. It's a very different lifestyle. But the best thing is we're very safe, we're quiet, and it's a very good place for students who wants to study. So the history, so the university actually started in 1804, and that's when we started, we were called Kent College. And then we changed the name and all those, and in 1969, we became UPEI. So we have a history over 200 years. And when we started, that in the picture, that's the only building we have. And now we have a quite big campus. So for UPEI, we do have a different schools and faculties. And so we have the regular arts, business, science. We also have engineering, education, nursing, mathematical, computational science. And the most famous program or highly ranked program that we have is actually veterinary medicine. And because in Canada, there are only 5 veterinary medicine schools, just like human medicine. Veterinary medicine is quite difficult, and it's quite expensive too. And so there, like I said, there are only 5 veterinary medicine schools in Canada, and there are only 2 veterinary medicine schools that actually take international students. So one is us, UPEI, the other one is Guelph University in Ontario. So in whole Canada, there are only 2 veterinary colleges that actually take international students. So if you have a student that are interested in veterinary medicine and don't mind paying for it, we're actually a good choice. So I'm going to go into the details about the programs. So in Faculty of Science, we do, so those are the listed programs, so the regular arts, business, the regular chem, bio, and physics, and also a few, I would say, unique ones, or the ones that international students are really interested in will be the human sciences. So food and nutrition, kinesiology, and radiography. So I will use food and nutrition as an example. So for food and nutrition are for students who want to be a nutritionist, want to get a license after they graduate, right? So in order to get the license after they graduate, as a dietitian, what they have to do is they have to study in a program that's accredited by the society, by their association. I forgot the name of the association. And also they have to do an internship. So they don't call it, I think they call it food and nutrition internship or dietitian internship. So they have to do this dietitian internship during their studies, and the dietitian internship has to be credited by the association. So for UPEI, both our programs are accredited by the association. So which means when students graduated from our food and nutrition program with a dietitian internship, they are eligible to apply or to take the test to become a dietitian. Just like if you want to become a nurse, you have to take a national test to become a nurse. So same for dietitian, they do have to take a national test. But before they can take the test, they have to finish the program and finish the dietitian internship. So this is for our food and nutrition. And another one I find students are more and more interested in is psychology. So we do have a psychology in science and arts. And the differences is in science, students will have to take more science courses, and it's more clinical based. And for the one in arts, it's more knowledge-based. Students don't have to take any science courses. So this is for our Faculty of Science. And this is actually our newest school. And this is a program for students, or the school set for students who are very math smart and computer science smart. So if you have a student who are interested in coding, computer science, or video game programming, are actually really good programs for them. And so in our video game program, you don't have to know how to design characters. We don't have to know how to draw. So because what the students are doing is actually still the coding, but instead of coding a website, they're coding a video game. So those are our computer science. And if students are really interested in math or numbers, or in the future they want to work in the financial part of the career, so they can think about actual science, analytics, financial math. So those are the programs that quite popular nowadays, especially for analytics and actual science. So for actual science, they can work in insurance companies. For example, if you buy a life insurance or whatever insurance, investment insurance, the insurance product actually is designed by the people who study actual science, because they are actually studying the management of risk management. So that's why they do design insurance product. And they also work in the pensions, so there are different things that you can do with actual science. And for analytics, of course, data analytics, every company or even for schools, we need somebody to do the data analytics. So for our university, this position is called institutional researcher. So they research the institution and they provide data for us. So for example, if I am going to somewhere, a new market, I ask this institutional researcher for her help, and I will get data from her for the current students at the university. If we have any students from this new market, where are they from? Which school they're from, or which region they're from, and then they will give me a little bit direction of where I should go in this new market. So this is what the data analytics, that's what they do. And also for business, it's for like if you work in a company and you help design like a recruitment or to design their future plan or things like that. And the next one will be our sustainable design engineering. So for our engineering program, we don't actually have traditional engineering program, because if you look at our program list, we have electronics, sustainable energy, and bioresource. So I asked the dean of engineering, I asked him, why don't we have the traditional like chemistry engineering, chemical engineering, or civil engineering? So why don't we have those traditional ones? And he told me, first, because engineering is also an innovation. It's in the process of making it like to a new pathway or something, and also they need to have more engineers who can do more than just one specializations. So for example, our mechatronics. So mechatronics is actually mechanical plus electrical. So the reason why we don't have two of them separately, he gave me a very easy example, is car industry. So in the past, if you're thinking about designing cars, it's purely mechanical, right? But nowadays, we have the cars that run gas, we have electrical cars, we have cars that run they use different fuels. So that's why if you're in the car industry, mechanical, it's not enough nowadays. So that's why they added electrical, so that if you do have an electrical plus mechanical, so it will help you later on in the future to actually work in those industries. So, and car industry is just one example. There are other industries that they also need both both specializations, and that's why we have combined electrical and mechanical engineering. And also, in order to become engineer in Canada, so first of all, you have to study in a program that's credited by the association again. And then after you graduate from the accredited program, you will be able to get iron rank. So that's the rank for engineers. And then you can apply to become engineer in training. So that's the same meaning as a junior engineer. So we call it engineer in training. So once you have that destination, you will be able to work with a senior engineer, which is called professional engineer in Canada. So you will be able to work with a professional engineer for 4 years. After 4 years, you will be able to apply to become a professional engineer yourself. So it takes a long time to become a professional engineer, but it's important that you start with something small. You start with junior and then you go to senior. So that's how you become an engineer in Canada. So the next one is in arts. So in arts, we don't have a lot of international students, but the ones that are interested in arts are mostly in applied communication, leadership and culture program, economics, and also there's a special one called music education. So music education program is for students who want to be a music teacher in the future. So if you're interested in Okay, so music education is for students who want to become a music teacher. And so those are the popular ones for arts program. And the next one, I think for Faculty of Business, for every school is the same. For business, it's the top choice for international students. So at UPEI, we have the regular Bachelor of Business Administration. So all programs at UPEI, Arts, Business, Science, Engineering, Mathematical and Computational Science are 4-year programs. And in business, we do have some 2 years and 3 years post-diploma program, which is accelerated BBA. BBS is Business Studies. BBTH is Business in Tourism and Hospitality. So those are post-diploma programs. So it's not for high school graduates. It's for students who graduate with a diploma in those areas. And so if high school students or even university students that wanted to transfer, they can choose Bachelor of Business Administration. And we do have 7 different specializations, and the popular ones are accounting, finance, and tourism and hospitality. And just to give you an example of accounting. So for accounting, students who want to be a CPA in the future, right? So in Canada, in order to become a CPA, you have to take, after you graduate from the university, you have to take another program for the CPA test. And then when you finish the program, you take the CPA test. And then they also track, when students do the CPA test, they track where those students are from. So where do they get their first degree? And for UPEI, our graduates, they actually, they have a very high CPA graduating passing rate. So for the past 3 to 5 years, our CPA passing rate has, it's always 90% or above. And last year, our CPA passing rate was actually 100%. So that explains something, right? So our university is quite strong with our Faculty of Business. And also in business program, we also have a co-op program, like I mentioned it before, and it's highly recommended for students to take part of in the co-op program, because I have so many friends that actually graduate from UPEI with co-op program, and they got their full-time job right after graduation. It's a time for you to show to the employers how good you are, and then if they like you, or if you're very good at what you do, they will definitely hire you after graduation. And we also have education. So education is a post-degree program, which means it's not for high school graduates. It's for for university students who graduated from a degree. So it's a 12-month program in English and French. So I did the English version because I don't speak French. But for French, if you study French one, it's actually quite easy to get a job, because in Canada, French teachers are easier to get a job than English teachers, just in the school system. And they're not just teaching French and English, they're teaching all other subjects in French or in English. And our majors are primary and intermediate. So primary is from kindergarten to grade 6, and intermediate is from grade 7 to grade 12. So it's junior high and high school, and you can do different specialization as well. And this program, it's a 12-month program, so 7 months of studying and 5 months of teaching. So it's pretty cool program, and that's what I did as well. So we also have a graduate program, but because we are a small university, so we don't have a lot of graduate programs. And so for graduate programs, there are 2 types. There's a course-based and thesis-based. So for course-based, basically that means you can apply directly. There's no need for a supervisor, and you don't have to write a thesis. And for thesis-based, it's mainly, So for thesis-based, it's mainly science-based, and you also have to find a supervisor before even you can apply to the program, and you have to write a thesis. So those are the graduate programs, and every program has a different admission requirement. So there's no general requirement for all the programs. So if your students are interested in graduate programs, you can go on our website and it listed all the programs with admission requirement. So those are just some pictures of the university. For applications, basically just need to apply online. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one. And we do have an English Language Center. So we call it EAP, English Academic Preparation, for students don't have enough IELTS or TOEFL, or if they don't have the results at all. So we do accept that. And but they have to be academically admissible. So they have to meet the academic admission requirement. The only missing part is their English requirement, and then we can accept them and they can come to take EAP. And this is a 1-year cost. This is actually, I kind of mentioned it earlier. So tuition insurance is about $15,000 and living costs about $10,000. So 25,000 Canadian dollars a year. And this is for arts, business, science, and mathematical and computational science. For engineering, there's a 1,000 professional fee with it. So that's 26,000 in total for engineering program. And this is only for undergrad. For grad, every program has a different program fee. So this is a scholarship I was talking about, entrance scholarship and returning scholarship. And this is purely based on their grades. And so for example, if someone come to UPEI study for a year, and so for the first year, their GPA is 91, okay? And so for the second year, when they enter the second year, there will be $2,000 deposit to their student account. And the money can be used for tuition and on-campus housing. So it's automatic scholarship. And employment opportunities, I think I actually touched on all those points while I was doing the presentation. And one thing I want to mention is if you study full-time in Canada, you will be able to work 20 hours per week during school year and 40 hours per week during scheduled break, like summer break, winter break, spring breaks. So those are, I already mentioned the rest, I think. So we do have a different services for students, and I'm sure every university would offer like similar services. We call it different names. And I work in the International Student Office. So basically, we are the second home for all international students. So no matter what problems they have, or if they're not sure about something, we are the number one stop for them. And they just come to our office. We can help them to solve all the questions. Well, we try our best. And we also have housing help. So we do have on-campus, off-campus, and we also have a homestay. I didn't write on there. So on-campus means they live in residence. Off-campus means they just go rent themselves. And we also have a homestay. So students can live with a local host family, and the host family would be responsible for 3 meals a day and taking the student to school and drive the student home. So I actually lived in the homestay for the first 2 years when I came to UPEI. And also a career service. So career service, so we do have 2 career services. One is for current students who are looking for jobs. Like, for example, if you're a new student, you're not sure about Canadian cultures or how to write a Canadian resume. So our office actually helps students. So the career service, they build a Canadian resume and they do interview skills, and they also do they teach students how to do online search for like off-campus jobs. And we also have another office. They actually help 4th-year students. They pair the 4th-year students with local employers, and they kind of help them to do different social events so that the employers can get to know those 4th-year students, and those 4th-year students will have different pathways when they graduate. And so there are so many students that they actually got a job or job offer even before they graduate. They already know, okay, that's where I'm going when I graduate. So those are the things I want to mention. And So I think those are all that I wanted to mention today. So I know I have a student with me today, Ernest. Like I said earlier, he is from Malaysia, and I invited him to join me with the presentation today just to share you some of his experiences or his feeling about the university, because I was a student myself and I graduated from UPEI, but he's also a current student, so he will also have some maybe different feelings or different experiences that he can share with us. So I'm just going to ask Ernest if you want to turn on your mic and your video, and if you want to share a little bit of your experiences with everybody.
Hi everyone, my name is Ernest. I'm from Malaysia and it's my third year here. I'm going to fourth year in September and I'm doing a business administration. And excuse me, I absolutely love this place, and the reason why I'm going to share with you in a couple of seconds. Right. So the first thing, which is the most important thing, is the weather. I come from Malaysia, which is a tropical country, so the weather is 30 degrees Celsius all year round. Unless there's a storm or something, then it gets cooler. But the point is that it is very hot. So when I come here, it's hot, let's say, for 3 months of the year. For 9 months of the year, you're getting a solid, nice weather. You've got your winter, you've got your spring. And this is the kind of weather that makes me very happy because I'm not hot all the time, I'm not sweating all the time. So it's absolutely spot on. And with the hot weather, it brings bugs, right? So in Malaysia, we have bugs all year round. You see, you've got mosquitoes, you've got this bug, you've got that bug. It's a pain. So when you come here, for 9 months of the year, you've got this nice weather. In winter, you don't see any mosquitoes. You don't have to deal with that. It saves a lot of pain and frustration from me. So that's the second thing. Second thing is bugs. So the third thing is the safety here. It's really safe here. I've been here for 3 years. I can leave my car unlocked outside of my house with 10,000 bucks in it and nobody's going to touch it, because that's just the way Charlottetown and PEI works. Everybody is very respectful of each other, so it's a very safe place. So when it's safe, your life is going to be good, because when it's safe, you're going to feel very at home, you're going to feel very at ease, you're not going to feel stressed out. So when you're not stressed out, life is good. So when life is good, you can focus on your university, you can focus on your work, you can focus on whatever, right? And also because people are very friendly. Because I come from Malaysia, so when I come to Canada, I'm in a different country, I'm in a different place, I don't know anything about the culture and how it operates. So I thought, oh, maybe they might not like me, maybe they don't like the way that I talk or something like that. But when I came here, I was shocked. Everybody was very accepting and very understanding that I was from a different part of the world. And when that happens, you get to meet new people, you get to meet Canadians, you get to meet people from all around the world, because like Freya mentioned, Charlottetown PEI is a very multicultural kind of place. So you meet many different kinds of people and you learn really quite a bit of their cultures. And now talking about UPEI. So one of the main reasons that I chose UPEI was because of its affordability. So I believe Freya mentioned just now, for a year, all your expenses would average around $25,000. So if during that 1 year you work, during your school time you work part-time, and during the summer you do your full-time, you would say make around 12.5 grand, potentially even more depending on what job you take. So you can see based on this number that you can spend quite a very small sum on your total living expenses plus your university, because of the amount of money that you can make. So it's a very affordable choice. Because I come from Malaysia, from a middle class family, cash is really an important thing. So it was very helpful that you can work part-time and full-time during the summers. So it really does help with that financial burden. And the last but not least is the understanding professors. Like Freya mentioned, the classes are a bit small, the classes are smaller. So let's say on average you got 40 or 50 people in your class. So the professors can take the time, slowly break down every single different concept and learn your name. When I hop into every class, when the professor calls me by my name, I'm shocked. I don't know how the professor knows my name, but the professor just knows my name. And that's what's awesome about UPEI. And that's everything that I have to say, and I'll pass the time back to Freya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ernest. Ernest is actually quite active on campus because I do airport pickups, and Ernest is actually one of my very reliable volunteers. And he also he also volunteered in our office for different events, and he was there for a text clinic before the university shut down, of course. And also, like, I see him all the time on campus. Like, he's always very involved. And then if I have a student who are looking for help, Ernest is like the definitely first person I would think of, and I'll ask him for help, and he always says yes. And he works really hard for his part-time jobs. Like, actually, when I talked to him yesterday, well, a few days ago, he was working, and so he's definitely one of the very good example for international students. So work hard, and also work on his studies, and very involved on campus. So those are some of the things that I always want to encourage international students to do. So thank you very much, Ernest, for joining us today. And I think that's everything we want to share with everyone. And I think the next one is Q&A. So I'm gonna turn the mic back to the host, and then we'll do the Q&As.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think that's a lot of information that will be very, very useful to all the participants. So we can go straight into the question and answer session now. I'm going to be sharing my screen here. So we have some of the questions that we received before the webinar, so we can go through them. But I think I put down a few things when you started speaking. I think before we forget, I would like you to address a few of those issues. You mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that if the student work hard, then they could have the privilege of getting jobs after their, or the privilege of applying for immigration and all that. So I want you to explain what you mean by working hard. What do you mean by if they work hard?
So work hard means like if they finish their school successfully, and also during their school time, they get involved in the community or get involved on all the campus events, get to know people, and also start working a little bit in different, like get a part-time job, or if they can do co-op, they try to do co-op, like this type of working hard. And then by the time they graduate, they are ready for the job force. And during their co-op time, it's very, very possible that they will find like their future employment. Because I do have, I wasn't in the business program. I was for the first year, and then I went to arts program. But I do have a lot of friends that are in business program and who did a co-op program and end up in government jobs or university jobs, or like one of my friends is working at a CRA, so the tax center in Canada, and he started as a co-op student there, and when he graduated, they just hired him right away. I have at least like a few 4 or 5 students who are in an accounting program. They did their co-op in like different accounting firms on the island, and they're all hired by their co-op employers. And when they graduated, they just went to that accounting firms. So I've seen so many of them, but those students are the ones that worked really hard, right? Like not just their study, they're really good students, they're top students in their class, and also they work hard to actually build the connections. Okay. Those are the important things for them to actually help them to get a job after graduation. So, and again, we can't guarantee a job. No one can guarantee you a job, right? But what we can do is we encourage students, we tell them those are the things that the student did in the past, and they help them to get the goal. And we tell them even before they start studying or in their first year of studying, and they know in their mind, okay, if I want to get a job in the future, I need to do a co-op program, I need to find a job or something. At least they have that mindset, so that they know they have to work hard to get what they want in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. And then you mentioned something about, I wanted you to address something about credit transfer. Students who are already studying in maybe other parts of the world, they are studying for their bachelor's program, they are in their second year or third year, and they want to cross over to PAI. Is there such an opportunity, and what do they need as a requirement to qualify for
Yes.
that?
So we do accept transfer students to most of our programs, mostly in arts, business, and science, and mathematical and computational science. And so how it works is we take a look at their previous transcript from the previous institution. And so there are a few things that need to put into consideration. So first is the school, and the second is the courses, and third is the grades. And the fourth is what's the material that's covered in the course, so the course descriptions. So those are the things that we have to put in consideration when we do course transfers. And so the short answer is yes, we take transfer students, but we can't guarantee how many we can transfer. But one thing we guarantee is we try our best to transfer as many courses as possible. But it also is a very case-by-case situation. There's no general answer. Okay, you can get 10 courses transfer, you can get 15 courses transfer. There's no general answer for that. It's very, very case-by-case. But we work with the faculties, and we try our best to transfer as many courses as possible. And it's easier to transfer it's easier to transfer from the university level than the college level.
Okay. And then I will need you to also explain a bit again on the English test. So are you saying it's possible to make your application to PAI without writing the English exams? If you have other qualifications in place, then you can come over to PAI and then do the in-house English program.
So there are a few things. Sorry, I should have explained that a little bit clearer during my presentation. So for English proficiency test, we do accept IELTS, TOEFL. There are a list of the things that we accept, but the popular ones are TOEFL and IELTS. And right now, there's another one, Duolingo English test. Those are the popular ones right now. So we encourage students to take the English proficiency test. And if they can pass the test, then we can provide direct entry or direct admission to the program. And then student can register for courses and they can come and there's no stop. But let's say if a student don't have enough IELTS or no IELTS at all, we can still accept students, but it's conditionally acceptance to both our ESL program, which we call it EAP, English Academic Preparation, and academic. So that means when they come to the university, they have to take an in-house placement test. And if they can pass that test, that would be great. They can go straight to academic programs. If they don't pass that test, it's mandatory to take English language courses. And there's no negotiation because once your test is over, if you don't have enough grades, then you have to take English language courses. And so that's a second. And we do accept other replacement. For example, IB. So if a student graduate from IB diploma program, then we don't need IELTS. We don't require English language tests. If a student finish A-levels, O-level and A-levels, we don't need English language tests. And if students study from American high school and got American high school diploma, then then they don't need it. So there are different things that there are different educational system. If they go through those type of system, then they don't need IELTS.
Okay, now two more questions on that. Someone studied English language for bachelor's program, and then they want to come study for master's program. Do they still need English test?
It depends on where they studied. Like if they study in a country that English is not first language.
With a degree in English, I mean, a bachelor's in English language.
Yeah, but if the country where the university is not using English as a first language, then it's different because we did have students from China that major in English, Bachelor of Arts major in English. They still need to take English tests.
This is interesting.
And also it's easier for them to, well, that's for bachelor. Masters might be different, but for bachelors, when they transfer to UPEI, they still had to do an English test. But again, think about if they did 4 years of English literature or English as a major, then there's no problem for them to pass the English test, right?
Yeah, but then, so when they are making their application, they don't have to bother about IELTS. They can just apply and then they can come over and take the placement test.
No, not for masters. Masters, you have to have IELTS test
Wow.
or Duolingo test. But for bachelors, you can come without English test.
Oh, okay. For masters, you must. Okay.
Yes.
What about
Well,
for PhD?
Unless, yes, the same, because those
Same.
are the graduate programs. Unless they're coming from a country that English is the first language, or consider English is the first language.
So what if English is the official language?
Yes. So the country's language is English the first language, then we can take those. So students don't have to provide an English test.
Yeah, you still didn't answer my question. First language, official language. For example, many countries in Africa have English as the official language. Education is conducted in English from elementary school throughout, all levels of education. So if you schooled in such a country, do you still need English test?
It depends on the country. I'll give you an example. For example, Nigeria.
Use Nigeria as an example.
Yes, we don't need, for Nigerian student, we don't need English.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
But for Rwanda student will have to need, they still need English because French is their first language. Well, I don't know. They speak more French than English, right?
Yeah, actually, East Africa is more French than English.
Yeah.
So for a Nigerian student who is applying,
they don't need
when they get to the point where they are asked to present English test, then what are they supposed to do?
We don't ask Nigerian students for English test.
Okay. That's great. Okay, so let's go on to the question we have here. What scholarships are available for international students? That's the question.
So I didn't mention it earlier. So we do have an entrance scholarship, and we also have a returning scholarships. So so we do have a lot of scholarships, and we do have a scholarships only for international students, and we also have a scholarships for all students. So the scholarship for all students, everybody can apply. And for example, during this difficult time, so our university actually initiated a number of scholarships for all students, and we also got support from the province that have scholarship only for international students because they need more support because their family members not here and they can't work and all those. So we designate a amount of money just for international students. So we take that into consideration. We try to support our international students as much as possible.
Okay, I think this is already answered. Can they bring?
Yeah, they can. It depends. So if they bring their partners, like wife or husband, so if one of them has a study permit, the other person can get an open work permit. And for their kids, they can bring their kids to study in from K to 12. But if it's a very young kid, like they're not age to go to kindergarten, then daycare you have to pay for it. Because daycare is not in the public school system.
Okay. And so, how many months before? Anyway, I think you will need to tell us how many intakes you have at UPEI.
So at UPEI, we have September and January intake. And so it depends on where the students are from. I would still use Nigeria as example.
Yeah, that would be good.
So for the students in Nigeria, and I think in the summertime usually takes longer time, like processing time is quite long. So usually we suggest students to apply to the university at least a year before or like 10 months before that. If you want to have enough time to complete your visa, because it takes a long time to get a visa already. And sometimes something close and this and that, and takes even longer. So we always suggest students to apply to the university early and to apply visa early. So one year in advance, it's like the best if you want to, or 10 months, I think. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, so if someone makes any application now, they should be looking at resumption against
in January
2021. Okay.
Yes, because for September right now, You might be able to, but it's a little bit too
it's
a little
dicey.
bit late because it's already June, right?
Okay. And then, when can I defer my admission, and how many times can I defer my admission before I lose it?
So for the when question, you have to defer before school starts. And so how many? Only one, and the maximum you can defer is like up to a year. So for example, if you get accepted to 2020 fall semester, you can only defer once, and the maximum you can defer is 2021 fall.
Okay. And then I have some questions, but I think I want to finish up with this first. Do you have any scholarship for candidates in the medical sciences?
We actually don't have a medical school.
Oh.
We have a veterinary medicine, but we don't have a human medical school.
Oh, okay. Then the study and work opportunity. Okay, I think you already mentioned that.
But I do want to mention the second part. It's not enough to pay for school fees.
Okay.
Don't take, like, I don't want a student have a false impression of they can come and then they can work and then they can pay for everything. It's not the case.
So what's your advice?
So Ernest actually mentioned that students can make like at least to cover their own living expenses. So and also you still have to think, like, when you first arrive, you're not from the region. It might be hard to find jobs within the first month or two, right? So I always suggest students, at least for the first semester, prepare enough money to pay for school and living costs. Because for the first few months, you still need time to get used to the weather, get used to the school, get used to like everything, right? So I always suggest students for at least the first 3 months, the first semester, 3 to 4 months, to have enough money to pay for both school and living costs. And then after that, if you can get a part-time job, you should be able to make enough money to support yourself for living costs. But for school fees, I don't think they can earn enough to cover everything. So school fees, you still have to, like, your family or someone will have to help to support a little bit.
Okay. And then, so about the scholarship again, someone is asking, is there any opportunity for scholarship at the point of admission?
Yes, the entrance scholarships.
Okay.
But they have to have, it depends on, so first of all, they have to apply before March 1st. That's the cutoff date for entrance scholarships.
Okay.
And the second, they have to have a very high academic performance, because it's purely on performance. So let's say, I'll use Nigeria as another example. Because you guys do, because for Nigerian students, they do the WAC, right? So let's say on WAC result, everything's A, will probably give a scholarship. If it's like 6A and few Bs, we'll probably give it. So that's just my.
What's the scholarship worth? The entry scholarship, what's the value?
It's between $1,000 to $3,000. So again, it's not enough to pay for school fees. It's a small portion of the school fees, and we don't have 100% scholarship, and we don't have 50% scholarship, because considering how affordable our tuition is. Because I often get a question, students come to me and say, oh, so university give me $10,000 for scholarships. Why don't you guys only give me $1,000? And I said, well, look at how much you have to pay to that school. And then you tell me if which one is more affordable. Because like the bigger schools, they have more money for scholarship, but their tuition is also more expensive. So I said, in the end of the day, you're not looking at how much you are getting from the university, because in the end of the day, you're looking at how much you have to pay to the university. So yeah, because I get that question a lot.
And then for this entry scholarship, are they just for bachelor's program, or does it apply to master's program?
And for master programs, they have a different pot of money, and they have a different assessment for that. So every program is different for masters.
So are there scholarship for master's program as well?
Yes, but again, not enough to pay for school fees. Just a small amount, yes.
Okay. So do you have any professional courses?
So for nursing and education actually counts as professional degree, but they're both, so for nursing, it's a 4-year program, and education is a 12-month program.
4 years for the nursing program.
Yes.
Nursing. 4 years.
Nursing,
So,
yes.
and
4 years.
what kind of qualification do you get out of that?
It's a bachelor of degree, and then if you want to become a registered nurse, you have to take a national exam. Just like to become a doctor or become a lawyer, you need a bar test.
Okay, and what's the qualification for entering into that?
So for nursing, it's a highly competitive program. So for students who are interested in nursing, first they have to take IELTS test no matter what. As long as they're international students, and they have to take English test. So
Okay.
And they need IELTS 7 with speaking, writing 7, the other two 6.5.
Okay. And then any age limit?
And there's no age limit, but there is. So for the high school, so we're looking at high school grades or university grades if they did a university already. And so if you look at our website, I think it says 70%, but it is a highly competitive program, which means they only take the top, let's say top 70 students or top 60 students, right? So this program is the one that has no rolling admissions. So we do have a intake deadline. So there are only one intake a year, so it's September only. And the deadline for the application is February 15th every year. And after that, so the admission committee will take all the applications and they rank all the students, and they only take the top, I don't know how many, 60 or 70 students. And so let's say if a student do really well, got 90s, but all the students that apply the same year got 95, then this 90 can't get in. You know what I mean? Like they only take the top students.
That's
so it's very hard to say how like what's the average they can get in, because it's not a cutoff grade. You have 70, you're in. It's different. Yeah. There is option for students who want to do nursing but can't get in for the first entry or the first application. They can always come in as a foods nutrition or kinesiology student, because those have a lower admission requirement. And once they come to the university, they can take a first year science foundation courses, and if they do really well, second year they can apply to get into nursing.
Okay. And then for the tuition, when does the student have to pay the tuition, and how much of the tuition has to be paid before coming over to Canada?
So we actually don't require prior payment for tuition. Some students do to help them to get a visa, but again, that's not something that we require, and I don't think it's a requirement I don't know for the visa part, but we see that students make previous payments to the university, like before even they come, and they ask us for a receipt so they can apply for visa. But that's not something that we require. We don't require that. And tuition deadline is so when school starts, and it's the second Friday after school starts. Okay. Yeah, and then that's deadline, and then tuition has to be paid in full for the semester.
Okay. And someone is asking, if I have a first degree in civil engineering, what courses are available for masters for me?
We have a Master of Engineering, but for engineering, it's those 3 areas, and you have to have a supervisor because it's a thesis-based program. So you have to go to the website and look at our professors' portfolios, and then if you can find someone that matches to your interest or your research area, then you can email the professor. So
there are no taught programs in the engineering for masters?
There's no course-based, only thesis-based.
Okay. And then the education courses, you said it's just a 12-month program.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a postgraduate diploma or a master's program?
No, it's actually a bachelor degree, but it's a post-degree. It's a post-degree program, so that it's like a second degree, because it's only 1 year, like 12 months. But you have to have a degree first. Okay.
So if someone has a master's degree before, can they apply for that program?
Yeah, they can, but they have to have a bachelor.
Yeah, of course, I know. I mean, okay. Because some schools will say it's a duplication of programs.
No,
Okay.
it's not duplication because our Bachelor of Education is a bachelor degree. It's not a master degree, and it's like for students who want to be a teacher in Canada, they have to do a Bachelor of Education anyway. There's no other. Well, at least for the province of PEI, because every province is like they have a little bit different rules about getting the license for teaching. So at least for the province of PEI, there you can't take a test to become a teacher. You have to do this Bachelor of Education degree. Once you have this degree, you get the teaching license.
Okay. And then when they get this license, what are the prospects for jobs for them? What's
School teachers. School teachers, after school programs, so anything related to teaching.
And those are readily available?
To be honest, in Canada, I would say elementary school teachers are not as easy to find a job as intermediates. So and also in intermediate, of course, French teachers are the number one. Like they have, it's easier for them to get a jobs, like the one that speak French. But for English teachers, if you're in if you're in junior high or high school, and if you teach like science related, it's easier to find a job than elementary school teachers. And also for teaching positions in Canada, or at least in PEI, a lot of times you have to start as a substitute. So like it's not easy to get a full-time job right after graduation. Just to be honest, because I don't want to tell people, oh yeah, you come, we take you get a job. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
It's okay. And then the work permit, at what point does the work permit comes? Does it come with a student visa, or do you have to get to Canada before you apply for the work permit?
Are you referring to the postgraduate work permit, or?
No, I mean for student work permit.
There's no work permit anymore except co-op work permit. So for students who want to work, and there's a legal term, there's a condition on their study permit.
Okay.
So the study permit is like this big, right? It's on the bottom of the study permit. It says conditions, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different conditions. And if it says students are allowed to work on and off campus, then they can work.
So it's possible for the conditions to say students not allowed to work?
Yes.
What would be the reason for that?
Usually for ESL learners, because for ESL students, they're not allowed to work.
Wow.
Yes, because they have to learn English, right? And that's the reason.
Okay.
But I think, well, again, I'll use Nigerian students because they don't need English. They don't need they don't need to take a ESL. So usually when they come, they on the permit, you will say. But again, it depends on because the condition is printed when they cross the border. So when they arrive Canada, the first airport, let's say Toronto or Vancouver, when they arrive at the airport, they will get their actual study permit. And that's when the border agent will put on the condition. So usually, if you have a direct entry to the university or college, it will say you're allowed to work. But sometimes it's possible you will say you can't work. So. And I can't explain why, but we do have a study permit from students who got direct entry to the university, still says not able to work. But they can actually apply to change the condition when they arrive to the university if everything meets the requirement, because there are different requirements to allow you to work. Like you have to be full-time during school year, and there's no break and all those. So there are other requirements. Even if a student has a condition says they can work, but if they're not in school, if the school's not started, or if they're not in full-time, they're not a full-time student, they still can't work.
Okay.
So besides the condition, there are other requirements on top of that condition.
Okay. So I mean, that's clear. I just want to confirm again because someone has the same question repeated here. Someone already has a master's degree, they can do a second master's.
If it's not the same master's. So if you already have an MBA, you can't do the MBA again. Same for bachelor. If you already have a Bachelor of Business Administration or Commerce, you can't do Business Administration again.
Okay.
It's just the same degree. You can't do them
but
again.
You can do a different degree.
Yeah, you can do a computer science degree if you want to.
Okay. And then, English taught, bachelor's degree, and years of international work experience, But I think this is already addressed, so no need to go.
It depends on where they're from, right? So it's a little hard to say for sure, but it also depends on where they're from.
Age is not a hindrance to applying for any program at PI.
Not for the university. For visa, I don't know, but for the university, we do not care if you're 50 years old, if you're 80 years old, you can come to study.
Okay, so it's
I
a
have
visa.
classmates. Yeah, when I did my first degree, I had a classmate. She must be 60 or because all her hair are white and like I think she must be 60 years old at least. So
and studying for bachelor's. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it will be an immigration problem then.
Yes. It's not
tuition is addressed. How much money do I need to have to show proof of financial ability?
That will be a visa question because we don't need to prove your financial ability. Okay. It's the visa office, and then I don't know about that.
Okay. Professional. Okay, I think those are the questions we have. The BSc nursing is not available for those who are asking. So, yeah, I think those are the other. Executive MBA program, you have that. Yep. What does it cost?
It's a 2-year program. I think it's about 50,000 Canadian dollars. A little bit more than that, around 50,000.
Any scholarship?
Well, it's a one-on-one base, so I can't tell you for sure.
Not 1,000 Canadian dollars.
Well, it's probably more than that, but again, it won't be enough to cover your school fees, and we don't have percentage scholarships. So, yeah.
Okay. Someone is asking about radiography. I think that's not. It's not available at PEI. Maybe another.
Radiography? Did you say radiography?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a radiography program.
Oh, okay. BSc radiography.
Yeah, we do have a radiography program, and so for radiography, you have to apply to a science program first. Let's say you apply for chemistry, biology, or physics. You have to study in that program for a year. And because there are 10 courses in your first year, you have to take as a science foundation courses. And once you take those 10 courses, and then you can apply to get into radiography. But it depends on how well you do in those 10 courses, and you will determine if you can get into radiography or not. If you can't get in, you can continue second year in a different science programs. And I find international students don't like that uncertainty. So that's why we actually I don't think we have any international student in that program, and they only take like a few students a year.
Okay. The student says, I'm studying public health presently. Can I transfer to radiography?
Well, when you transfer, you have to transfer to a basic a foundation science program first.
Okay,
and then so you have to finish those 10 courses at UPEI, and then they will look at your grades and decide if you can get into radiography or not. Okay. You can't go straight into radiography.
Okay, thank you very much. We're very grateful for your time and for enlightening our participants. Thank you for joining us.
No problem, my pleasure. I hope I answered all the questions, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Okay, I think we still have a few. We're just looking at, the time. Yeah. Someone is asking for the duration of the mechatronics course, and then
it's 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yes.
First degree in food science and technology. What options are there for master's degree?
For science, so again, for all the science programs, our master degrees are thesis based. So you will have to find a supervisor.
Okay.
So we do have a Master of Science, but you have to find a supervisor first.
Okay. So, and then for the MBA program, how much does the student have to pay first before they go into
courses so all the school fees are due the second Friday after school starts.
So they
don't have to pay. They don't have to pay it in advance.
Okay.
The only fee that they have to pay before school starts is the tuition deposit.
Okay, the tuition deposit, which is how much?
For MBA, I don't remember it's 500 or 1,000. I forgot. And it also is a non-refundable fee. It's a non-refundable tuition deposit. For undergrad, it's $250. For MBA, I can't remember. I think it's 1,000, but it might be 500. I don't remember for sure.
And then someone, I think, went to your website and said there are additional fees for international students. So there is the international student fee, 4,000 Canadian dollars per annum. International health coverage for 750. Program confirmation fee for 500.
For what program?
I think that should be for maybe mechatronics or something, an engineering course, engineering master's degree.
Yep, because for the school fees, there's two parts, well, three parts of the school fees. There is the program fee for masters, there's the program fee, there's the international fee, and there's other fees. Other fees include insurance, like whatever school fees that they have, random fees that you have to pay. So there are three parts of the fees. Same for undergrad. There is a tuition, there's international fee, and there's the other fees. Okay. So there are three parts of the fees.
Okay. Thank you very much again. So any other question, please, participants, we will address after we release our presenter. Thank you very much, Freya.
Okay, thank
we are
you.
glad
Thank you
to
for
have you.
coming today. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.